In this lesson, we're going to begin working on the neck of the character. Alright, so let's take a look at working on the neck of our character. The width and everything looks pretty good. I'm really happy with the amount of detail that we have here on the jaw. But I really want to accentuate the muscles that come down from the jaw all the way down to the clavicle. And so I just want to use the standard brush to go about doing that. So BST on the keyboard, take our draw size up a little bit. And we'll just kind of start to bring that in. I'm going to bring my intensity down just a little bit and just start to kind of stroke that in. And you know, this muscle should not be anything that is like overly intense, you know, like this. Like I see on a lot of characters, that muscle really isn't that strong. Even on, you know, male characters, it's not something that is so dominant over everything else. Okay, it's very light, and really, it's not even visible whenever the person's in a neutral pose. It's less visible up here. It's the most visible down here where it comes to the collarbone. Okay, and so you want to be careful about whenever you're adding these in. Okay, it just needs to complement what you already have. Okay, and so don't get carried away with that. You know, remember, with female characters, softer is better. Okay. Couple of things that we could do from here. We could probably come in and maybe add a little bit to the neck. And whenever you're adding detail along for muscle structures, you want to kind of stroke along the direction that those muscles are going to go. And so when you get up here, you're going to start getting into the trapezius muscles, which come down, okay, like this. Okay. And we always want to smooth out as we go. Okay, so smoothing that. It looks like my intensity, something's going on with that. It's not wanting to smooth that out. Let me try it again. Okay, well, it's going there. Weird. Alright, so let me go ahead and just come down right across the neck here. And we'll smooth that out. There we go. Now it's working again. Okay. Okay, so just kind of stroke that in there, just kind of build up a little bit around the edge. If you need to, you can go down a subdivision level or even a couple here and kind of help out with the smoothing of that. Because when you're at very high subdivision levels and it gets very dense, it can be very difficult to smooth. It takes longer to do so. So I'm going to go down probably as low as I can get, actually. Kind of build that up a little bit more, and then as I come across the back side of that and smooth it, get a little bit more of a subtle variation in that. Okay, and so when we come back up, it'll be there, but it's very, very soft. Okay, and you can see it right down in here. Okay. Now let's go ahead and take care of the clavicle area. Now in this area, it's probably not going to be as important because our character is going to have different elements that are actually covering this up. However, if you have a character that may have multiple sets of clothes, you will have to go in and start painting in that anatomy. So let's say that our character is going to be wearing a t-shirt at some point, whether that be in a game or in a film. For this character, you want to go ahead and add that in. Let me go ahead and bring my subdivision levels down again. Kind of smooth that out. Okay. We don't want that to be really deep or anything like that. It should just be where on characters that are thinner, it it can appear to be pretty deep, but the reason that it appears that way is because the neck muscles are showing that, and then that we have the collarbone, okay? And so we want to kind of smooth that out a little bit, okay? So bring that out a little, and just kind of playing around with the collarbone, maybe making that a little more accentuated here, okay, to where we can see it. Now, we really don't see it that much right in here. The bone tends to come out a little bit more right here in the middle, and then also right up here where it meets with the shoulder, okay? And so those are going to be some of the major points that you'll definitely see that, okay? But there are some hints of it throughout. Now, it's getting to the point to where it's looking like most of my detail is blurred here, okay? I can't really see it all that well, and we're kind of missing some of these hard edges that we would see in some of this, but it's supposed to be fairly soft. Okay, so we can see that there. Kind of soften that up a little bit, and then if you wanted to, you could also come up into maybe the chest and start to reveal some of the bony structure right along the sternum. Okay, bringing that up, kind of softening that up a little bit there. Okay, and you might even see a little bit coming right above the breasts here. Okay, but again, we're going to be having we're going to have clothes on our character. You can also change your matte cap here. So I like to use a metal sometimes if I'm having a hard time seeing the specular highlights on that, how that is looking there. And I come in and I'll soften that. Just a hint of that sternum coming in. It's not dominant, okay, but you will see it sometimes on thinner characters, okay. And you could even get to a point where you see like maybe a striation of maybe muscle that comes off of that, okay, for the pectoral muscles. Okay, and again, yes, females have pectoral muscles. Okay, structurally they're not that different from male characters. Okay, all right, and then something like right around the chest here. Let's go ahead and take care of this. We want to make sure that this comes out a little bit more. Okay, again, this is where the pectoral muscles meet the deltoid. And so we get a little bit of tissue right here. Sometimes it could be a layer of fat or something like that that kind of shows up in here. And even part of that muscle kind of builds up there. And then what happens is we also get this little line right in here that shows a separation between the pectoral muscle and the deltoid. So that starts to come in. Okay, and you can kind of paint that in a little bit there. Now it's going to be very soft. We're not creating a character, and we're not trying to get into anatomy or anything like that. We just want to make sure that these are soft, but the shapes are there. Okay, they can kind of help us with the shape of like the t-shirt and things like that. So, all right, pretty good up to this point. We can come in if you wanted to do a little bit more work on maybe the shoulder blades, maybe a little bit more of the muscles. But I think we're at a point where we can go ahead and start working on the clothes, because I'm not going to be creating anything as far as clothes go that is that revealing. Okay, we can create a t-shirt just to kind of help out with that, and just give us an option for our character design. And it also kind of helps us out with showing off the workflow that we're going to be using for this. Okay. Oh, we also need to get into the hands, so let's go ahead and do that before we move on to anything else. So we'll start to detail out the hands, getting those to look a little bit better with fingernails and things like that. So we'll get started on that next.